Alright, I think it's recording, hopefully. So I'm going to ask some simple questions. This is going to be some biographical data first.
Okay.
And what is your name?
My name is Dale Gentry.
It's nice to meet you, Dale Gentry.
Yeah.
My name is Bobby.
I think I've known you a while, Bobby.
Maybe more than a few seconds.
Yep.
How old are you, Dale?
I'm 63.
And the muscles say he's younger.
Yeah.
Now, I know it's 2018, but I think it's safe to assume you're male.
Yes. It's true.
And are you Caucasian?
Yes.
Okay. Where were you born?
I was born in Cookeville, Tennessee.
And now you live in Jefferson City?
Technically New Market.
Oh, yeah. It's weird how that works.
Yep. Really close to Jefferson City.
And what is your level of education?
I have a BS in journalism from the University of Tennessee.
And you are a newspaper owner?
Yes. Publisher, I guess, is really my title.
All right.
But I do own the newspaper also.
All right. So the purpose of this interview is to try to collect data on speech patterns in not only East Tennessee, but anywhere in Jefferson City particularly. I said that backwards. Not just in Jefferson City, but East Tennessee.
Okay.
So we've been studying how there's different kind of rules that people follow.
Mm-hmm.
And each area, there's I don't know how to describe it. So, in a broader sense, people follow a rule. And then once we start closing in on certain areas, we'll notice that they follow the broader rule and then some smaller sets of rules.
Okay.
And then in East Tennessee particularly, along with areas in Texas and small parts of states around us, we find that there's an even newer, more recent set we're studying. So there's this famous linguist who basically studied these speech patterns and tried to record the data. But the problem with it is that he only studied the big cities.
Mm-hmm.
Chattanooga, Knoxville, Memphis, And we're afraid that he didn't get the samples from the rural parts, and that's where we come in. Because we have access to people who aren't in Chattanooga or Knoxville or Memphis. We have people, small Jefferson City, Tennessee.
Yeah.
So we're trying to see if that data either contradicts what he had or helps support it.
Okay.
So let's get into this. Yeah, I'll give you a second.
Quiet.
Okay. So, how would you describe home life?
Home life?
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about growing up or my home life now?
So, both. First, you can start with your home life now.
Okay. Well, my wife Teresa and I had 2 kids. We had 2 grown kids. And of course, they're out on their own, both married, and have children of their own. So basically, my immediate home life is just my wife and I. And that's pretty much it. We live just outside of Jefferson City in a house that's located on 17 acres. It's sort of like being out in the country, but yet we're really close to the city. And we're close to Jefferson Memorial Hospital, within like half a mile.
So, describe some hobbies or activities outside of your job.
Um, I enjoy playing basketball and tennis and fitness kind of things. Spend a lot of time with my grandchildren. Got 5 grandchildren. 3 of them live in Chicago now. My son just recently moved to Chicago. The other 2 are close by. I enjoy gardening a little bit. Don't have a big garden, but just small raised bed kind of gardening. That's pretty much it, I guess. I enjoy reading. I don't have a ton of hobbies.
How would you describe your job? What you do, and what you like about it?
Okay. Well, I grew up in the newspaper. My family owned the newspaper. Has owned the newspaper since 1956. So I grew up in it. And the thing I like about working for a newspaper, owning a newspaper, is that there's just all kinds of variety. You meet different people every day. I mean, you may have the same sort of schedule, though you're writing about different people, you're learning different things. There's a lot of variety in what we do, and a lot of things that I guess you learn every day, just because you're exposed to a lot of different things that are going on. My job is mainly overseeing a staff, developing story ideas, looking over the business end of the newspaper. But I'm very much hands-on compared to some publishers. I really enjoy getting out and doing stories myself, taking pictures, and I think that's part of the thing I enjoy about it too. Is just that variety of tasks that I get to do. So I even enjoy doing sports and taking sports pictures and those kind of things. And being a small paper, you can do that, as a publisher.
Okay, so let's kind of dive into some stuff, like hobbies and stuff you had whenever you were younger. What did you enjoy? Where'd you go to school? Stuff like that.
Okay, went to school. We moved here when I was 1. So went to school at Jefferson Elementary, which then was a K through 8 school.
I did not know that.
Yep. And then went to Jefferson High School, which is now Jefferson Middle School. Just missed going to the new high school by like 3 years, I think, something like that. Yeah, because I graduated in 73, and the first class was class of 76. So, things I enjoyed growing up. I always enjoyed sports. I played baseball, played tennis, played basketball growing up. What else? Like everybody had pets and those kind of things. I enjoyed swimming in the summers. And in those days, I guess parents didn't consider it so dangerous. And we rode our bikes all over town. We had a lot of kids in the neighborhood. We would, play all the time in the neighborhood. And moms weren't worried about you getting kidnapped or lost anywhere. They'd just go out and holler for you when it was time for supper.
Different times.
Yeah, a lot different time. So, it was a fun childhood.
Let's see. So, do any of your kids or your grandkids, are they interested in the same sports you were?
Yes, I would say so. My son played high school tennis and played basketball in middle school. My daughter played basketball in middle school, but then she started playing softball. So yeah, and they have a lot of the same, I guess, abilities that I do. Both of them are really good at writing, and strong in English and those kind of skills, and creativity, which is something that I think goes along with my job. You have to be a creative type to be a writer and photographer and those kind of things. So yeah, they've got several skills and hobbies.
So this is it's going to be an obvious answer since you're my youth leader, but is there a common religion in your family?
Yes, I would say Christianity is definitely and faith in Jesus Christ is something definitely that our family is very strong.
So how do you view other religions in relation to yours?
Well, I respect what people believe, but I believe that Christianity is the truth, that it is. When you look at the Bible and study it, that it's evident that what Jesus did provides the way back to God. I don't ever try to debate people about religion because, like I said, I think you should respect what people believe, but yeah, I would try to share with them what I believe.
So it kind of falls into how your religion and the beliefs of your religion might conflict with your idea of not wanting to push yourself on others, but at the same time trying to help others, to lead them to Christ.
Yes, that's good summation. Yeah. I don't believe you can argue with somebody and convert them to Christianity.
Yeah.
I don't think that works. I've seen people try it, or bash them over the head and say they're going to go to hell if they don't believe what you believe, but that just does not work.
So here's a question. Say you were born in another country where your family raised you to believe another religion, and someone tried to influence you or kind of introduce you to Christianity. Mm-hmm. How do you think you would view your religion then to what you would see Christianity as?
Well, it's hard to put yourself in that situation.
It really is, yeah.
But I would think it would be similar to how I look at like Hinduism or something now, That's something I would not be as familiar with. That would probably be the way I would look at it. I don't know. Not having been in that situation, that's a hard question to answer.
Yeah. So I know you know that I'm majoring in political science, so don't let me influence this. But what is your view on politics today?
I think we're getting to a point where, well, I don't know. I think everything is getting too political, in my opinion. We're getting to the point that we can't talk about issues anymore without, we're just so polarized that if you're on one side, it's like you can't even discuss any medium ground, which I think is a real shame.
I think everybody should,
because we can't solve any problems because nobody will move, and I think the political climate is such that there's almost this thing: if you move toward the center, you're punished by your political party or whatever, or there's the threat there of punishment.
Interesting. I didn't see that.
Yeah.
I like that. Interesting. How did your family view politics? Your parents, your children?
We were not political at all. I mean, in terms of being involved. And part of that is because in a small town, well, two reasons. I think. And my dad was always trying to stay neutral and, represent both sides, which part of that, a large part of that probably for us was because we owned a newspaper and we're journalists, and you have to try to remain objective.
You have to be impartial.
And we've always taken that very seriously. Some newspapers, have leaning certain ways, and they make no secret about it. We've always tried to be impartial as best we could. So we really, my dad really never, and my mom really never got that involved in politics. From a personal standpoint, I never have either. Just because it works better in a small town. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, I see that. Have your children ever gotten involved in politics?
No.
No. Okay. How would you describe yourself on a scale of like 1 to 10 about how politically aware you were as a young teen?
Probably an 8 or 9.
Really?
I actually went to, actually had a chance to go to this program called a presidential classroom for young Americans when I was a junior or senior in high school. And it was fantastic. We got to go to Washington for a week, and, we actually got to go to the Supreme Court and talk to a justice. We got to go to the White House. I mean, it was really a pretty impressive kind of experience. But I think I was very aware. And of course, that was the time, around about that time was the time when all Watergate and all that was going on too. And Nixon got impeached and had to resign. And, it was a very historical time in our nation in terms of politics and what was going on. I mean, you had a president. At one point, you had a president and vice president who had never been elected to those positions. They were appointed because Nixon and Agnew were put out of office. So it was interesting times. So I would say I was very aware of what was going on politically.
That's impressive. So let's kind of go back to your childhood. What are some of your fondest childhood memories?
I would say, like I was saying before, just we grew up in a neighborhood where there was a ton of kids that were similar in our ages, and we did stuff all the time. We'd come home from school and go out and play football in somebody's backyard, or do whatever, play games at somebody's house, or ride bikes to the pool in the summer, or whatever. Just that's some of my fondest memories. Going to my grandparents' house in Knoxville was always a real treat, and we did that fairly often because they were close. Playing tennis, played in a lot of tournaments from the time I was 12 till about 18, and just doing that. Had a lot of success doing that, and developed a lot of close friendships with people.
What are some of your saddest childhood memories?
Saddest? Losing a dog who got run over right in front of my house. That was really sad. I think when my grandmother passed away when I was actually in college, and I think that was the first time I realized that the world in which I grew up was never going to be the same again. I remember that distinctly. My dad was what you would call a workaholic, and I remember it was always sad to me that I never got to spend as much time with him as I wanted to. So, and that wasn't necessarily like one event, but just something was throughout my childhood and growing up years.
So we've been over this, and you've been married. Let's talk about Teresa. And how long have y'all been married now?
Going on 41 years.
And y'all live together in Newmarket. How does life operate in the home? Like, how do y'all interact? Is there, I don't know, just explain your marital life.
We have always approached marriage as a partnership, that neither one of us is in charge or the final authority. So when we have decisions to make, and we always talk about them and come to a common agreement about things. We enjoy doing a lot of stuff together. I think we each would say that we are each other's best friend. We enjoy, I think that's partly what sort of drew us together to begin with, is we enjoy sports and outdoor things, hiking, hiking in the mountains, doing those kind of things, tennis. So we enjoy a lot of the same things. Family is important to us, both. And so we spend a lot of time, as much as we can, with our kids and grandkids. We just got back from Chicago, spending a week with our son and his wife and their 3 kids. So, yeah, we do a lot of things together.
Okay. How do you view your children's marital status? You only have one kid that's married, right?
No, 2.
Okay.
Yeah. What do you mean? I don't understand the question.
Do you approve or disapprove the decisions they made?
As far as choosing a spouse?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we like both of them. David met his wife, Stacy, at Carson Newman. She's from Chicago originally. She basically followed her 2 sisters who came to Carson Newman before her. Their family has a lot of the same values we do, interestingly enough, and we really enjoy when we get time to spend with her parents, because we have a lot of things in common. Really, the same's true of my daughter Sarah's husband Dustin and his family. They actually met in high school and were friends in high school, went on one date in high school and never dated anymore in high school, but then started dating when they were both finishing college. And but his family lives here, and a lot of the same kind of they have a lot of the same values and things too. So yeah, we're very pleased with the choices our children made in spouses, and we get along with our in-laws and our daughter-in-law and son-in-law. Just everything works pretty well.
Okay, so are there any areas of life that kind of divide you from either your wife or your children? Is there any one point or area of life that y'all just don't agree on and you all can't make amends over it?
Nothing.
That's perfect. That's awesome.
Yeah. We've always, if we have differences of opinion over things or whatever, we always talk about them, and we don't agree. And I don't think anybody does. Sometimes you think you want to second guess, decisions your children make or whatever, just little things. But it's their life; they've got to live it. So we get along. We don't rock the boat. They don't rock the boat with us. And I think that's because we value the relationships more than we do anything. So, we might disagree over something, say, for instance, we might disagree with the way they discipline their child in some particular instance, but we're not gonna make that an issue.
Yeah.
Because it's just not worth it.
All right. Well, one last thing. I'm gonna ask you to read off a word list. There's word list 1. You can take a break, and then there is word list 2. If you have any questions, just ask me.
Okay.
At your own pace, your own measure, however you would pronounce it.
Okay. Word list 1: fill, pin, oil, hollow, fish bait, wash, help, feel, potato, life, pin, thorough, feel, follow, get, red, old lace, fire, fail, home, hit, wire, feet, doing, okra, greasy, mining, tobacco, fell, lice. Word list 2: lot, thought, prize, boil, pour, pen, choice, toll, ball, pour, trap, dress, cub, thing, thought, test, hand, nothing, this, morning, often, trimmed, clasp, cost, risk, story, ask, toe, fault, grasp.
Awesome, you're a pro. Yeah. So, I explained the point of the interview to you, and the kind of thing we're looking for is to kind of get personal with you, talk to you. It helps that I know you, so that it's not awkward or that you're nervous, and that helps you speak freely, talk to me easily, and not try to use quote-unquote proper grammar.
Yeah.
Because there's no such thing as proper grammar. Everybody uses different grammar and dialect, and we're just trying to study that and see what the differences are and why.
Okay.
That's it. It was good. Thank you.
All right.